Good evening, my dear followers and subscribers. In today's video lecture, I am going to discuss some of the stylized facts about the world economy. Let us start with the world population by region. In this table, we can see that Asia accounts for almost 60% of the world population. This is followed by Africa, and African population constitutes about 17% of the total world's population. These are followed by Europe, Latin America, and Caribbean, North America, and Oceania. So one of the stylized facts in this table is that of the share of the population of the Asian continent, which is almost 60%. Here in this pie chart, we can also see that Asia accounts for 59.73% of the world's population. Africa accounts for 17.92%, followed by Europe, that is 9.37%, and we also have 8.28% of the world population share owned by Latin America and Caribbean. We may think of what are the top most populous countries in the world. In this diagram, in this schedule, you can see that China is the most populous country in the world current time, and it is followed by India. USA ranks third in terms of the size of population, followed by Indonesia, and then there is Pakistan. The total population of Pakistan is 23 crore 38 lakhs. Then there is Nigeria, Brazil, Bangladesh, Russia, Mexico, Japan, and so on. So these are the top 20 largest countries by population in the world. In this diagram, we can also see the current and the projected population of these countries by the year 2050 and 2100. So you can see China still ranks the first, but that will be surpassed by India soon. And third is United States of America, and then there is Indonesia, and Pakistan ranks fifth in the world in terms of population. Previously it was sixth, but now Pakistan has surpassed Nigeria and Brazil to become fifth largest country in terms of the size of population. Here we can see the percentage distribution of world population. China accounts for 18.4%, 18.47% of the world population, followed by India, which accounts for 17.86% of the world's population. Then there is US, which only accounts for 4.34%, followed by Indonesia. This data is around about 2019 and 20. At that time, Pakistan ranked sixth, but currently Pakistan ranks fifth in terms of population size. And previously, Pakistan accounted for 2.62% of the world population, but currently it accounts for almost 3% of the world's population. Later on, we will see that in terms of population, Pakistan accounts for about 3% of the world population, but in terms of GDP and GNP, Pakistan ranks one of the lowest. This is the 100 trillion economy, world economy, and China and USA, these are one of the largest economies in terms of global GDP. USA has 25.3 trillion US dollars GDP, China 19.9 trillion, and after that there are some other countries. In this diagram, we can see the percentage share of various countries in the gross domestic product of the world economy. So these are the estimates of the 2019, and USA accounted for 24.42% of the gross domestic product of the world economy, and that was followed by China 16.34%, and there are some other countries, but these are these two are the biggest, are the largest economies, which account for more than 30% of the total world economy jointly by these two countries. And we can also see rest of the countries in terms of their percentage share in the world economy gross domestic product. Now the world GDP was $88 trillion in 2020, which rose to $94 trillion in 2021, and the global economy surpassed the limit of $104 trillion in nominal value during 2022. There are some other facts about the world's economy, and these include that the United States of America is still the economic leader worldwide with a GDP of 25.3 trillion US dollars, and it makes up nearly 1/4 of the global economy. So it means that 25% of the global GDP is accounted for by the United States, and USA is followed by China, which has a GDP of 19.9 trillion US dollars. So these are one of the world's largest two economies in terms of their big chunk in global gross domestic product. Here, if you look at the top 15 countries in terms of GDP in the coming slide, and these 15 economies constitute about 75% of the total global GDP, or 85.8 trillion US dollars. And the list is topped by United States, which accounts for 23.89%, followed by China, Japan, Germany, United Kingdom, France, India, Italy, Brazil, and so on. But we can see Pakistan in this list. So in terms of population, Pakistan ranks 5th in the world. But in terms of GDP, Pakistan is not included in the top 20 largest economies in terms of GDP. The World Bank has provided a regional breakdown of global GDP, and a close examination of this breakdown helps us to give additional perspective. In this upper table, we can see there are 7 geographic regions which account for global share. East Asia and Pacific accounts for 30.2% of the global GDP. Europe and Central Asia account for 26.8%. Northern America, that is USA, Canada, and Mexico, that account for 25.9%. This is followed by Latin America and the Caribbean, which accounts for 6.8% of the world total GDP. South Asia only accounts for 4.1% of the world GDP, despite of having India in this region, which is one of the heating economy, and its GDP is also greater than trillion. Sub-Saharan Africa account for the least share in the world GDP, and that is only 2%. Here in this table, we can see that high income countries accounts for 63.1% of the world GDP in nominal USD dollars, followed by upper middle income countries, which is whose share is 28.4%, and then 7.8% 8% of the world GDP is shared by lower middle income countries, and then there are some low income countries. Here in this figure we can see real GDP growth projections for 2023. This is Saudi Arabia, and then we have India, Indonesia. These are in terms of population, annual GDP growth rate. And two countries, Germany and Russia, they have negative growth rate. For Germany, the statistics are not available, but for Russia, it is projected that the Russian economy will shrink by 4.5%. Here you can see these are the world's largest economies in terms of GDP for 2023. The topmost country is USA, then there is China, and then there is Japan, we have Germany, we have India, we have UK, and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, by studying these stylized facts, we can see that on the one hand, in terms of population, Pakistan ranks 5th in the world, but in terms of GDP and GDP growth rate, Pakistan ranks one of those countries where the GDP and the GDP growth rate is one of the lowest. My dear subscribers, kindly subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell icon so that you can get a notification about some other videos that will be uploaded soon. Thanks for watching this video and the channel. See you in another video.